Street Genius Pop 50. A few years ago, I had written about some of the ideas in this chapter on my blog, and a man left a comment. He said that I was shallow, superficial, adding that I had no real understanding of life's problem or humans' responsibilities. He said that his own son had recently died in a car accident. He accused me of not knowing what true pain was and said that I was an asshole for suggesting that he himself was responsible for the pain he felt over his son's death. The man had obviously suffered pain much greater than most people ever had to confront in their lives. He didn't choose for his son to die, nor was it his fault that his son had died. The responsibility for coping with that loss was given to him, even though it was clearly, understandably unwanted. But despite all that, he was still responsible for his own emotions, beliefs, and actions. How he reacted to his son's death was his own choice. Pain of one sort or another is inevitable for all of us. It means, too, and for us, even in claiming that he had no choice in the matter and simply wanted his son back, he was making a choice, one of the many ways he could have chosen to use that pain. Of course, I didn't say any of this to him. I was too busy being horrified and thinking that yes, perhaps in in I was way in over my head and had no idea what the fuck I was talking about. That's a hassle that comes with my line of work, a problem that I chose and that the problem I was responsible for dealing with. At first I felt awful, but then after a few minutes I began to get angry. His objection had little to do with what I was actually saying. I told myself, and what the hell, just because I don't have a kid who died doesn't mean I haven't experienced terrible pain in myself. But then I actually applied my own advice. I chose my problem. I could get mad at this man and argue with him, try to outpain him with my own pain, which would just make us both look stupid and insensitive. Or I could choose a better problem, working on practicing patience, understanding my readers better, keeping that man in mind every time. I wrote about pain and trauma from then on, and that's what I've tried to do. I replied simply that I was sorry for his loss and left it at that. What else can you say? Genetics and the hand we are dealt. In 2013, BBC rounded up half a dozen teenagers with obsessive compulsive disorder (OCD) and followed them as they attended intensive therapies to help them overcome their unwanted thoughts and repetitive behaviors. There was Imogen, a 17-year-old girl who had a compulsive need to tap every surface she walked past. If she failed to do so, she was flooded with horrible thoughts of her family dying. There was Josh, who needed to do everything with both sides of his body, shake person's hand with both his right and his left hand, eating his food with each hand, step through a doorway with both feet, and so on. If he didn't equalize his two sides, he suffered from severe panic attack, and then there was a lack, classic germaphobe who refused to leave his house without wearing gloves, boiled all of his water before drinking it, and refused to eat food not cleaned and prepared himself. OCD is terrible neurological and genetic disorder that cannot be cured. At best, it can be managed, And as we'll see, managing the disorder comes down to managing one's values. The first thing the psychiatrists on this project do is to tell the kids that they are to accept the imperfections of their compulsive desires. What that means, as one example, is that when Imogen becomes flooded with horrible thoughts of her family dying, she is to accept that her family may actually die and that there is nothing she can do about it. Simply put, she is told what happens to her is not her fault. Josh is forced to accept that over the long term, equalizing all of his behaviors to make them symmetrical is actually destroying his life more than occasional panic attack would. And Jack is reminded that no matter what he does, germs are always present and always infecting him.